When is the World Braille Day observed every year? Option C 4 January. On which date the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas observed in India? Option B 9 January. When is World Hindi Day celebrated every year? Option B 10 January. When is National Youth Day celebrated every year? Option C 12 January. When is Indian Army Day celebrated every year? Option D 15 January. On which date the National Startup Day observed in India? Option C 16 January. When is Parakram Divas celebrated every year in India? Option C 23 January. When is National Girl Child Day celebrated every year? Option C 24 January. When is National Voters Day celebrated every year? Option B 25 January. When is Indian Coast Guard Day celebrated every year? Option C 1 February. When is the World Pulses Day observed every year? Option A 10 February. When is National Women's Day celebrated every year? Option C 13 February. When is National Productivity Day celebrated every year in India? Option B 12 February. Which day is celebrated as Global Tourism Resilience Day? Option A 17 February. When is World NGO Day celebrated every year? Option B 27 February. When is National Science Day celebrated every year? Option C 28 February. When is World Civil Defense Day celebrated every year? Option B 1 March. When is International Women's Day celebrated every year? Option B 8 March. When is World Consumer Rights Day celebrated every year? Option C 15 March. When is International Day of Happiness celebrated every year? Option C 20 March. When is World Forestry Day celebrated every year? Option C 21 March. When is World Water Day celebrated every year? Option B 22 March. When is National Maritime Day celebrated every year? Option C 5 April. When is International Mine Awareness Day observed every year? Option B 4 April. When is World Health Day celebrated every year? Option B 7 April. When is World Homeopathy Day celebrated every year? Option C 10 April. When is World Art Day celebrated every year? Option D 15 April. When is the World Heritage Day celebrated every year? Option C 18 April. When is the World Book and Copyright Day observed every year? Option C 23 April. When is the World Press Freedom Day celebrated every year? Option B 3 May. When is International Thalassemia Day observed every year? Option B 8 May. Which day is observed as World Red Cross and Red Crescent Day? Option B 8 May. Which day is celebrated as International Day of Light every year? Option B 16 May. When is World Refugee Day observed every year? Option B 20 June. When is the National Anti-Terrorism Day observed every year? Option C 21 May. When is the International Biodiversity Day celebrated every year? Option C 22 May. Which day is observed as World Preeclampsia Day annually? Option A 22 May. When is World Hunger Day observed every year? Option C 28 May. When is Hindi Journalism Day celebrated every year? Option C 30 May. When is World No Tobacco Day observed every year? Option D 31st May. When is World Bicycle Day celebrated every year? Option B 3 June. When is World Environment Day celebrated every year? Option C 5 June. When is World Food Safety Day celebrated every year? Option C 7 June. When is World Blood Donor Day celebrated every year? Option A 12 June. When is World Sports Journalist Day celebrated every year? Option B 2nd July. When is World Population Day celebrated every year? Option C 11 July. When is the World Youth Skills Day celebrated every year? Option B 15 July. When is the International Day of Criminal Justice observed every year? Option C 17 July. When is International Tiger Day observed every year? Option C 29 July. When is National Handloom Day celebrated every year? Option C, 7 August. Which day is observed as International Day of Indigenous Peoples? Option B, 9 August. When is World Elephant Day celebrated every year? Option C, 12 August. When is World Humanitarian Day celebrated every year? Option B, 19 August. When is the National Space Day celebrated? Option C, 23 August. When is the World Water Week 2024 being organized? Option B, 25 to 29 August. When is National Sports Day celebrated every year? Option C, 29th August. World Ozone Day is celebrated every year on Option C, 16 September. When is World Pharmacist Day observed every year? Option C, 25 September. When is International Translation Day observed every year? Option D, 30 September. Which day is observed as World Cotton Day? Option B, 7th October. When is National Wildlife Week 2024 observed? Option B, October 2nd to 8. When is World Post Day celebrated every year? Option C, 9 October. When is the United Nations Day celebrated every year? Option D, 24 October. When is the World Development Information Day observed every year? Option C, 24 October. When is National Ayurveda Day celebrated every year? Option B, 29 October.